You've heard of 6 Sigma events, 10 Sigma events. We got freeze warnings in Bahamas, freeze warnings in Cuba, freeze warnings in Miami. Gold and silver smashed the most since 1921. 15 trillion wiped out in a single day. Sicily, not a landslide, a full valley and partial island slide. These are the 10 Sigma events in just the last 2 days. Playing in the snow? Don't be this guy. Darwin Award, nearly won. We've seen the cold sweeping in this last couple of weeks, got the ice storms, the frigid cold, covered up in the cold, and then consecutive days below freezing, January 25th to February 10th. This is the forecast going out. The chill is not going anywhere. So bundle up. Florida, looking at some of these maps here. Minimum temperature Fahrenheit, ground temperatures. Do I see 31 down near Miami? I sure do. That's below freezing. Throw in some wind, and you're going to get into the 20s for the wind chills. Looking out at the Bahamas is middle 40s, but when you toss in the wind, you get down into the 30s. And as we get over to like Sarasota, Tampa, gonna get nippy with the sea effect snows coming off the Spanish media here, pointing you down to Cuba, southern Florida. So the Bahama Department of Meteorology putting out this near record low cold temperature advisory for the Grand Bahamas. I mean, pretty much all of the islands should say middle 30s, as we just looked at with the wind chills. People are not going to be used to that. Probably going to ruin your holiday if you just brought board shorts with you. Apparent temperature Fahrenheit as we get further into northern Florida there, not even to the panhandle, we get down near single digits. But you can see also, if you're looking off at the Bahamas there, 36 degrees Fahrenheit on the ground. Throw in some wind, sea, going to be chilly. They're predicting 33 degrees Fahrenheit in Cuba, breaking records from 1774 and now 1860. They heard about the 1894 Florida cold winter. We're going back 1774. This is definitely grand solar minimum temperatures. Frio. Now, these temperature ranges are from 5 Celsius, which is low 40s, all the way down into, middle 30s. It's going to lie somewhere in the highlands. Beach temperatures are looking at 14 degrees. Yikes. That's Celsius. That's barely above 60. Extreme cold Saturday night, Sunday morning. This is the inbound as of today. Extreme cold wind, 8 degrees Fahrenheit. You're looking at blue, your single-digit wind chill temperatures. Light blue, you're just going to have frost. Sounds like some end-of-the-world forecast here. 12 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chills. Miami going below freezing wind chills. Bahamas below freezing wind chills. Cuba, does this even make sense? And the frigid cold returns to southern Louisiana, down in like Baton Rouge, these areas. New Orleans going to about 5 to 15 Fahrenheit, and with the wind, it's going to be chilly. But I did capture this image here of Louisiana starting to salt the roads, getting prepared for winter. That's Southern style for you right there. But this map here, this is the anomaly, the difference in the 30-year averages on where we sit with the cold. Look at the far bottom of the chart. You're at like 20 Celsius below. That's, a good 30, 35 Fahrenheit under the normal. And as we move forward to the 2nd of February, that's not going anywhere. You're still locked in on the cold, and the Bahamas gets even cooler. That's where that freeze advisory came. Freezing in Grand Bahama. Freezing in the Bahamas. Let's hit the Keys. 48 Fahrenheit for the Keys. Florida Keys, look out. You're going to get, and that wind coming off the ocean is going to make you frozen. Daily low temps, at least it's going to warm up February 1st. It's going to get, I guess, to the, 34. That's just a sliver above freezing. I'm going to bring you to 2 different wind charts here. Windy map, you can see off the east coast of the Carolinas there. That is the bombogenesis, bringing a huge amount of snow everywhere, which I'll get into in just a second. But you can see the general wind flow pattern straight over the Gulf of America, down into Cuba, and parts out into the Atlantic. But this is off Null School, which I pulled up the wind map. Very visible to see how the winds are blowing from north directly south nearly On January 5th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Energy announced $2.7 billion in contracts to restore domestic uranium enrichment capabilities. On January 14th, the U.S. administration showed their support again. The White House invoked Section 232 via an executive order, a formal declaration of U.S. resource independence. It's a mandate. Energy security is now synonymous with national security. And the U.S. government is deploying its full physical and regulatory arsenal to secure the nuclear fuel cycle within North America. Here's the reality. The U.S. consumes over 50 million pounds of uranium annually, but produces less than 1 million pounds domestically. That means we're dependent on foreign suppliers for 98% of our uranium, a critical vulnerability for national security, power generation, and advanced defense systems. This is where Atomic Minerals comes in, trading on the TSX venture under ATOM Atom, and in the United States, OTC under ATMMF. So leadership includes members who were behind the discovery and $654 million sale to Rio Tinto, an exit about 59 times larger than Atomic Minerals' current valuation. You do the math. Atomic controls 4 100% owned uranium projects strategically located in the Colorado Plateau. Trading at an 87% discount to the peer group average, the company presents potential upside as the market begins to recognize its strategic asset and proven management team. Uranium prices have surged, and some analysts project they could reach $100 per pound as demand outpaces supply. Atomic Minerals isn't waiting. The company has drill programs underway, with exploration results pending and government support accelerating. With a government mandate, an experienced management team, and strategic uranium assets in a Tier 1 jurisdiction, Atomic Minerals is a company I'm watching closely. If you want to learn more about this critical minerals story and the team that already delivered big results, click on that link in the description. And a special thanks to Atomic Minerals for making today's video possible. That's atomicminerals.ca. And some of these temperatures just haven't been seen. Like, again, you're going back 200 to 300 years now in this kind of cold down into the islands. February 1st, at least half the nation, lower 48 here, bone chilling. But what's interesting is if you go over to Mexico, in Guatemala, they're talking about freeze warnings as well. Northern Guatemala, Yucatan Peninsula. Again, I can't even believe I'm saying this with a straight face, but I'm looking at the charts and we see where it's blue is where you freeze. Jumping over to the snow totals through February 3rd. This will bring us up like 2 or 3 days of total snow. Definitely looking at around a couple of feet in some areas. Pull it back to here in East Tennessee. It's already at 6 or 7 inches. It's more than the charts showing where I'm at in East Tennessee. So already their predictions are a little bit lower than what we've already seen here. It's supposed to snow for 5 more hours, and we're already at the 6-inch level here. And I'm not even in that red part. I'm to the west of the red, still in the blue, which should have seen like 5, 6. We're already surpassing that. This is going to be an overperforming storm. Diving into the southeast U.S., anywhere Appalachians, they were already going to get well over 12. I'm going to say 12 to maybe 16 inches now. Again, it's an overperformer happening. We got the chills coming, the severe storm index for you in the Carolinas. You have seen nothing yet. This is going to really pound. If it's this overperforming in East Tennessee, what you're going to see on the ground right there in North South Carolina, up into Virginia, Norfolk, and even further down, some of the states, New Jersey and Delaware, etc., Washington, D.C. More snow than's forecast is just my, 50,000-foot view on this thing. And as we dive in a more granular, the snow keeps falling, so it's hard to verify if it is or not. But if you're looking up north of North Carolina there and you get up into Virginia and our government seat, snow forecast, flurries possible through Tampa. They call it Gulf effect snow. You got snow all off the East Coast as well. Diving in on the NAM model, it shows 1 to 2 inches around Tampa, but then there's been some more updated and it goes all the way to Orlando. If you're down at Disney, you're going to get snow. Make sure you dust the flakes off Mickey's ears. And suddenly the snow totals have popped up a little bit. 5 to 6 inches of snow. Tampa. 130-year cold record in jeopardy as well at the same time, breaking you maybe back to 1892, but it sure looks like they're going lower than that. Now, the reason I bring you all those temperatures and the snow forecast, it happened last year also. And with that being said, a massive event ongoing in Australia, some of the highest temperatures ever recorded in Australia on the heat side of things, where you get into that green. They were talking about 125, 130 Fahrenheit temperatures. That is insane as well. So we're seeing it in both hemispheres. So what type of changes is indicating for us? These are just so far to the extreme on either the heat or the cold side. The reason I keep wanting to go back is this a trend? Because if it happened last year, and will it continue to happen next year? Because if it is, this just shows that we're coming into a heavy, more powerful cycle on the century level that is absolutely going to disrupt the very way of life that we have grown accustomed to. And you might ask, well, why are so many things around the world changing at the very same time? We're starting to see this very thing with our heat and cold ripped to the high and low sides, never seen before, at least in 300, 250 years. Would somebody know this information in advance and already plan on making these changes? No, this disruption would disrupt the entire way our civilization operated anyway. And they were getting a jump and a head start on it, leaving us in the dark, literally, with knowledge and information. It just seems quirky that all this is lining up and they're, overlaying on the years that all of this is happening. Just a real, simple question to ask, because money would be affected too, economy. Your food prices are going to keep going up and up, and it's never coming back down. And I will go in the next video, the gold to wheat and the gold to cattle ratios. If the price of gold's going more than 5,000, 5,500, and it's tied directly to the price of wheat over the last 500 years, do you think your food's going to get more expensive? I'm going to say pretty much, if it keeps going up and up. So I want to bring in this chart here of Weimar Republic, 1921 to 23, left side, and the price of silver currently in America, right side. There is a similarity, but that's only a 5 to 6 year chart with the Weimar runaway. Are we in the very beginning of the runaway right now? That still gives us 5 more years to hyperinflate away. Here's another 10 sigma event for you. Gold down 15%, silver down 38% in a single day. The last 24 hours has wiped out $15 trillion from the markets. That's half the GDP of America gone in a day. Apparently, there was a major bank failure at this time, and it was sell everything that's not nailed down to prevent a cascading, great taking type event from occurring. Gold down, silver down, 10 sigma, interestingly here. But it's only for us in America. The paper trade, fake as can be. Shanghai is still trading at $1.23. Hong Kong's there as well. Well over 120 still. We were the only ones in the entire planet that got hit down that hard. Single pricing for our single nation. This is absolutely unacceptable. They're trying to have you sell at a lower price than the rest of the planet. So even though on the same day, the China silver price looked at 122 on Shanghai spot, but we got knocked down to 83. That is criminal. Something is very wrong at this moment with our financial system. If the rest of the world didn't budge, but by fake paper, we can knock it down. Worst day since 1921. Again, did you see the beginning of the Weimar chart? It started in 1918. Do you think there's a similarity is my question? Because if you look at the third paragraph down, besides the same information, worst day since 1921. Third paragraph says there was 1 to 1.5 billion ounces of silver paper traded to make that collapse. That's more than a year's production. And then we got these silver ETFs with which they quote unquote insane volume of almost 1 billion shares trading hands. And then if we jump over to China, the gold runs on right here. Are these people waiting to collect their gold back from those who they lent it out to get actual fiat return in interest while they use their gold? There's a run on gold in China. And at the same time, I would like to see 6 sigma event, 10 sigma event, 14 sigma event. They're lining up here. This is, we're looking at absolute economic chaos occurring. So whatever is occurring with these temperatures and the economy all fits into a system reset here. Pennsylvania temperatures for you going to be 20 below Fahrenheit. Should have dropped that in earlier, but all-time record cold there too. We'll just throw it in the basket of strangeness. So these cycles come every 400 years, and they're known disruptors of, well, they're civilization setbacks is what they are. The planting and harvesting dates are thrown out of kilter. The food prices in turn then just start to skyrocket and run away. People spend more of their disposable income, or a majority of it, to start paying for food alone. We're seeing this run up in hyperinflation and everything that we're looking at here on the very tippity tip of it, of homeowners insurance, 30% per year, auto insurance, everything that you can think of, property taxes, all going up. So that makes the home more unaffordable. We've got the food pricing going up, and then everything you want to buy, except petrol, seems to be more expensive. Now we have this economic flash crash, and this is so far out of the norm. Like, it's a 10 sigma event. It's so they don't even really have categories for it going this far out. That's the whole thing. It's so rare and unusual. Yet at the same time, we have these cold temperatures back into the middle 1700s recurring again, which, if we are entering into the true noticeability stage of all of this, this is why the distractions have been so hot and heavy and furious across all genres of consumption of media. We are at a civilization reset point here. If the rest of the world's prices don't change when we flash collapse in America, there's a serious problem going on. And it's just downright theft that they can crash the prices that much. Some people needed to sell at that time, but the rest of the world remained unscathed. Now, what happens if they drop the price down to $5 for silver? You'll only be able to exit it in America unless you can get it out to another country to sell it. Is this a stealth form of, well, confiscation? I'm not sure. I'm just pointing it out there. Something's very, very wrong. And the news of a possible full collapse and absolute insolvency of one of America's top 5 banks based on their silver positions makes you start to think, why did they have to collapse it so much so they could cover their short positions? A full financial collapse on a banking system brings in David Rogers' Webb great taking scenario. Just want to put it out there while you're, trying to stay warm in your homes and maybe going out for a walk in the snow. Third 10 sigma event, entire valleys in Sicily collapsing. Bringing you over to Nesemi, World Heritage Site, obviously. Hilltop perch, beautiful aerial views, nice coffee shops right along the ancient architecture. What it looked like from the fields below, keep your eye on the hillside, because it just entirely slipped away around the entire town from stem to stern, as they would say. The entire face of the hills bordering that town has collapsed. All of it, every direction, encircling the entire town. It's just gone. So again, something that this far is out, that entire frontal face of what you can see from the aerial there, that has all collapsed and slid off all the way on the horizon, on the edge of the town going off, as well as that close-in view right there where you can see the white buildings. That has all collapsed. So what's going on with this hilltop? Or was it a hilltop, or was it a remnant of a geologic feature that is now sliding away? They had to evacuate 1,200 people just out of the homes that are on the cliffside there. And with all the volcanic activity and earthquakes in Santorini that has closed down tourism there, I mean, the amount of quakes is just, you have to read about it yourself. I'm not even going to try to do it a disservice, because there were thousands and thousands and thousands of earthquakes of the 4 range or so that were driving tourists away. There was just too many earthquakes. But now we're seeing in earnest the land slippage of valleys now slipping. What's going on geologically? They talked about Campoflagri also sliding on a gravitational slide, not a volcanic incident, that the actual side of that volcano in the Mediterranean is sloughing off. It moved like 8 feet in a matter of a couple weeks, spooking the geologists over there. We got full land movement across the Mediterranean. Hey, we heard about this circa 2,500 years ago. The full collapse of everything that we knew of the bedrock and the cradles of Mediterranean civilization were all wiped out by a massive tsunami. earthquake and volcanic eruption combo. Are we starting to see the same thing again? Because a lot of people across the planet in very powerful positions are panicked at the moment about something. Are we at the cusp where they can no longer hide this information and society is going to start to come unwound regionally? And is that the reason we're going back regional and we're breaking away from globalization because we couldn't keep the supply chains intact? We couldn't keep those routes open for trade. So they just as soon start to get us regional, knowing that is going to be an absolute certainty that we're not going to keep global trade open except for the best of times. And at other times, just to expect full closure. And that's where we sit today. There's too many weird things going on, too many out of context, strange, never before seen. And I would encourage you to please, in the comment box, when you leave some comments, like, what's a strange one around your area that I'm not covering? You know, because there's so many of these happening. You can't cover them all. I do appreciate you watching. It's going to be time to get ready for some of these emergencies. How about a 4-week, a 2-week, or a 3-day 72-hour food kit from My Patriot Supply? That link's in the description box below. Every purchase you make helps keep this channel on air, bringing you information just like this, because something strange is afoot at the Circle K, or I should say planet Earth. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.